Both courts and administrative agencies interpret statutes. If a court is the first to interpret a statute, and the agency later issues a conflicting interpretation, which interpretation should control? That's the question in United States v. Home Concrete and Supply. Ordinarily, the Internal Revenue Service has 3 years to assess additional taxes if a taxpayer understates the amount owed on the return. A statute extends the period to 6 years if the taxpayer makes a large understatement. This extended period applies if a taxpayer, quote, omits from gross income an amount properly includible therein, unquote, which exceeds 25% of the gross income stated on the taxpayer's return. The extended limitations period unquestionably applies if the taxpayer excludes income from the return, resulting in an understatement. In 1958, the Supreme Court in Colony Incorporated v. Commissioner considered whether the extended limitations period applies if a taxpayer understated income by overstating the taxpayer's basis in property sold. Colony concluded that the statute was ambiguous, and the extended period didn't apply if the taxpayer understated income from the sale of property. Decades later, the Treasury Department interpreted the provision differently. It issued a regulation specifying that the extended period applied if a taxpayer underreported income from the sale of property. Home Concrete and Supply filed a tax return overstating the basis of property it sold and thereby understated its income by more than 25%. After the 3-year limitations period expired, the IRS asserted a tax deficiency. Home Concrete sued, arguing that the generally applicable 3-year limitations period had expired. The district court concluded that the extended limitations period applied if a taxpayer overstates the basis of property and granted summary judgment to the government. The Fourth Circuit reversed, reasoning that the agency's interpretation wasn't entitled to judicial deference. The Supreme Court granted cert.